Hey everyone, I'm Kai, and today we're going to jump into the Reddit Am I the Asshole? And some of you all are listening to this on Spotify, so welcome. You also can watch this video, you can watch this in video form on my YouTube channel, which I'll leave in the description if you're listening to this from Spotify. So let's jump into the Reddit and discover if these people are the assholes. So this one is, would I be the asshole if I send an email to the birthday girl's mom explaining why my daughter left the party early? Depends on why you left the party early, so let's read it. And this person's 43 years old, female, daughter Annie, 9 years old, female, was invited to a party at a bowling alley to celebrate a classmate's birthday. Only girls were invited to the party, and about 21 at it, I think it might have only been 17 girls, were in attendance. We were about 5 minutes late to the party and arrived at the same time as another classmate, Betty. Due to the long lines, it took Annie and Betty about 10 minutes to get their shoes and to walk over to the lanes. The hostess had reserved 3 lanes next to each other. As typical with bowling alleys, there were 2 carved benches for seating for 4 lanes. When we arrived at the lanes, the other girls' names were programmed into 2 lanes, and an adult male was programming his name in the 3rd lane. Annie went to the area and was directed to the 3rd lane. I said hi to a few of the other parents and saw that Annie left the area. I asked her where she was going, and she said that she was told to go get a blue ball because it was lighter. I realized that the ball was 14 pounds, so I told her to go look for a lighter ball for her. When I came back with the ball, one of the parents asked if I was bowling, and I said that I was just getting a lighter ball for Annie. So that makes sense. I mean, of course you're going to get a lighter ball for her because, the other one was too heavy. So I get that. So far, I don't see you being an asshole. As I gave the ball to Annie, I heard the dad of one of the other girls say to Betty that her name is now on lane 2 as the birthday girl's mom, the hostess, Dana, came by. I asked Dana if Annie could also be added to lane 1 or 2 and was told that Annie is in lane 3. I was surprised and walked over to lane 3 to see that Annie was added to lane 3, and the only player on lane 3 was Annie playing with an adult male who we didn't know, with a bunch of other kids named Kid 1, other players named Kid 1, Kid 2, and Kid 3. I then saw Annie sitting by herself. I asked her if she wanted to go to the other bench to join her friends, but she was on lane 3 and was waiting her turn to bowl, though the adult male was bowling for other kids. I let her be and went back to talk to some of the other parents, but 5 minutes later realized she was still sitting all alone on the bench rather than joining her classmates on the other bench for lane 1 and lane 2. I walked over and asked her again why she didn't join the other classmates, and she said that she felt left out. So I asked her if she wanted to go. She said she didn't because she didn't want to play with the... She said she did, because she didn't want to play with the other adult male stranger. So Annie and I walked out. And that makes sense because she wanted to play with her friends, and here she is playing with this adult male that she doesn't know. So, yeah, so far you are not the asshole. It sounds like they're the asshole because they kept on moving her all about and whatnot. As we went out the door, her friends asked her why she was leaving, and she said she didn't want to bowl with the male stranger. Again, totally understandable. The other parents asked why we were leaving. I said that Annie was playing on a separate lane by herself. A few parents offered to have them take turns in lane 1 and 2, but by that time Annie had walked out. I then took her out for ice cream. That's awesome that you took her out for ice cream. You're like, hey, I'm sorry, sweetie, that you weren't able to play with your friends. Let's do something that you want to do. After we left, I realized I could have asked Dana to divide the girls evenly into 3 lanes, but by that time we had already left. And yeah, what your suggestion sounds like it would have worked a lot better, if you will, because then, it would have been evenly and she would have been able to play with her friends. I'm really upset how the hostess thought it was okay to isolate Annie. You have every right to be upset. Your daughter was completely isolated. I'm assuming it was because she was late or something. And anyways, it goes, and I'm glad I just didn't drop her off and leave. Would I be the asshole if I sent the hostess an email explaining why we left early and how the setup was exclusionary and that it was improper to have my daughter bowl with an adult male stranger instead of her classmates? No, you would not be the asshole. Everybody else involved was the asshole. Like, why do they expect your daughter, if you will, to bowl with a complete stranger that she didn't know? And not just any complete stranger, but an adult male stranger. So you would not be the asshole at all in the situation. But let's see what some of the other people said. Okay, so hold on, let me scroll down. Well, for those of you that are watching this on YouTube. For those of you listening on Spotify, I'm scrolling down real quick. So one person said, not the asshole. You should have asked why there is a stranger bullying on the reserved lines. And yeah, you should. Like, why is there a stranger bullying with your daughter on the reserved lines? Like, this was supposed to be for this particular classmate of hers, right? Birthday party, and then she's not bullying with her friends. And yes, you should have asked Dana to divide the girls to 3 lines, which I totally agree. But it doesn't help now to send an angry email. It'll only backfire. That is true. Dana had much to do with the 21 kids there. Yes, it was bad that Annie was put on the last line, but I think no one was thinking that far. Children have the first come, first served mentality, and all wanted to be on the lines with their friends, and Dana wanted to do with all the other stuff. So I just think she'll be angry at an email, and it could backfire to Annie and her friendship to the classmate. And that is also true, but you were definitely not the asshole in this situation. Like, the entire thing, like this person says, this entire thing is a clusterfuck. What I don't get, Hostess was clearly in overhead. Yeah, she should have actually had somebody else help her, because she was definitely clearly overhead. She had a mess already, and the people coming in late made it worse. Over here, you had the singular dad bullying, and over there, you had the parents yipping at the parents' table. Why didn't anyone offer to help the hostess? Surely there was some legwork that needed to be done and would free up decisions to help things go more smoothly. Okay, yeah, I get that, but, like, I'm sorry, she's not the asshole. The other person is definitely the asshole because the girl didn't get a bowl with her friends. Obviously, if she needed help, the hostess, she should have made sure she had help with the particular situation. I mean, so no, you would not be the asshole, in my opinion, if you sent the email. But that's just my opinion. The listener or the viewers, I'd like to know what you have to say about this. Am I the asshole for wanting a drink immediately? Probably. Like, I haven't read all of this yet, but I'm going to assume yeah. Just had a fight with my wife. She was washing dishes, and I was super thirsty, and she was using the tap instead of just stepping aside for 20 seconds max so I can have a glass of water. She made me wait my turn for 3 minutes. Well, she was in the middle of doing something at that particular moment, and then you tried to just step in, and, you know, you could have just waited. Like she said, you could have waited your turn. She was busy doing something at the moment, and you thought that you had the right to just do that. It doesn't sound a long time, but standing there with a glass, super thirsty. So, she calls me impatient, because you were being impatient. And I just simply, and will never understand how you would not just stop washing dishes for 10 seconds to allow your spouse a glass of water. But of course, I had to apologize. Well, you should have apologized because she was busy doing something, and then you're like, well, I want to drink immediately. That's not how it works, buddy. Quite sad about it, as I just never want to argue, but that triggered me. Good. Because you were being rude and impatient, and she was busy in the process of doing something. You could have waited for the glass of water. You weren't going to die at that moment for not getting the glass of water. It goes, was I just right to get annoyed, or should I just leave the sink until it was free? You should have left the sink until it was free. Like, simple as that. I don't even need to read the comments. You were outright the asshole. That's all there is to say about this situation. You were outright the asshole. She was busy doing dishes and using the tap to clean the dishes. You could have waited until she was done and stepped aside. Then you could have got your glass of water. That's my opinion on the topic. Yes, you were outright the asshole. And then, he updated and said, after 250 comments, I'm resoundingly the asshole. I agree and accept, but I didn't at the time of writing, so thank you. Well, good. I'm glad that you accepted you are the asshole. I mean, and the question is, though, do you always do this? Do you always just demand things to be done right when you say it? Because if so, I think you need to see some marriage counselor and need some counseling. Mainly you. Am I the asshole if I can't answer my husband's rapid fire interrogation? I haven't even read this yet, and I'm thinking, no, you're not. Oh my god. Like, just what is it with the last two? This one and then the one before this with the asshole men that are entitled and think they should get whatever they want. I don't understand it. I don't understand straight white cis men. Explain it to me in the comments section, please. So it says, I don't know when now I can explain fully what the situation is, but I have no other way to get some answers. Okay. Over the 10 years, literally 10 years today, of our relationship, my husband and I have an all out brawl where I end up getting furious, followed by really depressed that he and I cannot have the simplest conversation. It always starts the same way. I bring up a story, news, podcast, book, article, really doesn't matter, and he asks questions to poke holes in what I told him. That's how I interpret, whereas he thinks I'm confused or don't fully understand what I read, listened to, etc. I get flustered because I cannot answer all his questions. For instance, I brought up a podcast about a murder trial. Sure, I didn't read all about the case, just found out about the podcast, crazy because of the injustice. This is how it always starts. I find something interesting and want to share it. He thinks he's just wanting to know more, but his language, tone is antagonistic, charged, condescending. I feel like an idiot, flustered, and he just keeps asking rapid-fire questions to point out I don't know and assumes that I'm stupid. I end up crying every time. How can you have a relationship where you can't share anything? I feel he's incapable of listening, but he thinks he's a prolific listener because he asks questions. Just fucking listen, dude. He thinks it's more important to get the facts than it is to just listen to me. Is he the asshole or am I? No, he's the asshole. And it seems like he's just trying to gaslight you. You mention a news or a podcast or book or an article, and all of a sudden he just tries to poke holes in whatever you said. And I know that arguments are going to happen in a relationship and all that because that's what happens. But the way he goes about it, I would say he's outright the asshole. And I'm sorry they have to deal with this. But let's see what some of the people have to say about the situation. So one person says, not the asshole. And I agree with that person. You are going to have to take away the payoff to his behavior, which is the enjoyment he gets from reducing you to tears. And I agree with that. Just walk away and then go somewhere else and cry to where he can't see you. That way he doesn't get the benefit of breaking you down like he's trying to do. Next time at the first sign, he is starting up, say, never mind, it's not that interesting. I love that. Then remove yourself to do some other activity. Do not respond to any further questions, taunts, accusations he will try to use to bait you into responding. Don't do it. Stay calm and stay silent. Leave or just report the statement above. Or repeat the statement above. I'm not sure how long it'll take him to come up with another tactic of abuse once he can no longer get gratification from this one. Why would you want to remain married to this person is beyond me. Kind of agree. Like, maybe it's a misunderstanding. I doubt it, though, but this guy is a complete asshole. If you ask me. That is my opinion. Another person also says, not the asshole. Honestly, this doesn't just sound like asking questions. It sounds like he enjoys making you feel small. A convo shouldn't feel like an interrogation every time. If he truly wanted to learn more, he'd have a discussion with you, not turn it into a game of gotcha. Next time, just shut it down, saying, never mind, I don't feel like debating. If he keeps pushing, walk away. No point in trying to have a conversation with someone who only listens to win. And yes, that person is right. Your husband, unfortunately, is only doing this to have a conversation because he wants to win. He wants to win and be in the right. So yeah, I would agree you are not the asshole. He is the asshole. But let me know in the comment section of those that are watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, let me know on whether or not you think this particular person's husband is the asshole. I'd love to hear your feedback. Am I the asshole for removing my brother's girlfriend from our Life 360? This is going to be interesting. I, 24 female, have a younger brother, Matt, 21 male, who has a girlfriend, 21 female, named Selena. They got together back in 2021 and have had 2 babies during the relationship, who I love dearly. Throughout their relationship, I've tried to be cordial and friendly towards Selena. I have heard many times of how people don't get along with their sibling's partner, and I don't want to be one of those people. Throughout the years, though, I've heard countless gossip from Selena about what she thinks about people in my family, including my mother. Ooh. At that time, I would argue with my mother and sister, 25 female, in her defense, which I now, looking back, regret deeply. My younger brother currently works at a food truck that my parents have loaned him to make a living for his family, while Selena stays home with the kids. During this time, my mom, 52 female, and I have been working with him, sometimes without pay, since some weeks it is too slow. While working with my brother is fine, I felt that Selena sees herself as a boss and sees my mother and I as only as employees. Ooh. There are times when my mom asks my brother if she can spend time with her grandkids, but he says no because they are with her family. We set up a Life 360 a few years ago when they only had one kid and I would babysit it, so it was Matt, me, my mom, and my sister. Okay. Recently, I noticed she paused her location sharing since January 28th. I didn't think anything of it, but she would still monitor everyone else's locations. Since when my brother and I were working the weekends, he lets me know when my mom is near as soon as he gets off the phone with her. I didn't think this was fair since she's still able to view our locations. It's not fair. Like, she's still able to see your locations, but you're not allowed to see hers. This morning, I was talking to my mom, and she was sharing how much she wants to see her grandkids and how she invited Selena to an outing on Saturday morning. She goes to my mom. That was the final straw, and I removed her from the account. So, Reddit, am I the asshole? No. Like, what's the point of her being on there anyways? Like, what's the point of her being on there if she's going to pause her location? It's completely wasting your all's time to have it even on there. Like, it's not amounting to anything. You can't see her location, but she can see y'all's. That just sounds very controlling on her part. And a lot of this, from what I was reading, with what you posted, is she sounds like she's a controlling person and seems to think that she has the right to say how your lives work, but you're not allowed to have any input on anything she does. So I would say that you're not the asshole, but she definitely is the asshole in this particular situation. But viewer or listener, I'd love to hear your feedback. What do you all think? Do you think that this person's the asshole? So this person put, I'm not sure your sister-in-law is going into it that she's been removed from the group because she no longer shares her location. She doesn't let your mom see the grandkids enough. Yes, your sister-in-law isn't playing fair with the grandkids, but this one of the problems you have to discuss if you want to see change. Someone's like, I don't know what the hell Life 360 is. I didn't either. I had to look it up. It's one of those location monitoring things. But yeah, I agree. I don't see a compelling reason why Selena would need that information about the OP or her mom. I mean, exactly, especially if she's not sharing. And someone also said, yeah, it doesn't sound like OP and her mom need from her sister-in-law or vice versa. No, I don't really think they need to know each other's location. I personally don't really get this whole sharing location stuff, but, you know, I was born in the 80s, so maybe I'm just an old fart, and that's why I don't understand the whole entire concept of needing to know. But I would say that this person is not the asshole from removing her brother's girlfriend from the 360, Life 360, or whatever it's called, because she's not sharing her location, so why should you all have to share yours? That's just my opinion. Let me know what you all think. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law to piss off after she criticized me from going to the gym while pregnant? Okay. I am 28, female, and am currently pregnant and been staying active by going to the gym, as my doctor has assured me it's perfectly safe. I don't do anything extreme, just lift weights, walking, and stretching to stay healthy for myself and my baby. My mother-in-law, she's been making constant comments about how I'm selfish and putting my baby in danger by working out. She even told me I'm asking for a miscarriage by not just sitting at home and acting like a proper pregnant woman. How exactly does a proper pregnant woman act? I didn't know there was a particular way a proper pregnant woman would act. And your doctor already said that it was perfectly fine and perfectly safe for you to go to the gym. So if your doctor said it was okay, your doctor who has a medical degree, which is something your mother-in-law does not have, as far as I know from what you've said here, she doesn't have a medical degree, but your doctor does and told you it was safe and fine. If your doctor tells you it's safe and fine and you're okay, then you're okay. And then saying you're asking for a miscarriage, that is just cruel, harsh, and mean. Your mother-in-law is the asshole. But anyways, let's continue reading what you put. I've tried explaining that the doctor is on board, but she won't listen. Well, why won't she listen? The doctor has a degree. He knows what he's talking about. Or she, your doctor, whoever they are, knows what they're talking about. They have a degree. They went to school for this. Today she pushed it too far, saying I was going to regret it when something happens. I snapped and told her to piss off and stop sticking her nose in my business. And yep, I agree with you. She needs to stop sticking her nose in your business. Now she's playing the victim, saying I was disrespectful and that I should apologize. My husband is on my side, but thinks I could have handled it more calmly. Am I the asshole for snapping at her? No, you're not the asshole for snapping at her at all. Your doctor told you it was perfectly safe and fine, and you have the right to go to the gym. And not all pregnant women act the same. So her saying acting like a proper pregnant woman is just complete BS. Like, everybody has their own way of dealing with their pregnancy, and your way is perfectly fine, and your doctor has told you you're perfectly fine doing that. So who gives a shit what that fucking woman says? And I'm glad that your husband's on your side, but I would think you handled it completely calmly. The fact that she kept on and she kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. What did she expect you to do? But let's look at some of the comments of what other people said and whether or not they think you're the asshole. One person's like, "You're not the asshole. Her judgments are rude, intrusive, and ignorant. My husband is on my side, but thinks I could have handled it more calmly," you said. "Then he should have intervened when it started and handled his mother's behavior before it pushed you over the edge." Exactly. He should have intervened and handled it if he thinks the way you handled it was not correctly or whatever it is. I mean, I'm glad your husband's on your side, but he also needs to see it from your perspective as well. He doesn't need to just be on your side, but he needs to realize why it pushed you over the edge and why you felt the need to snap when you did. Because he needs to realize there was just so much you could do until you couldn't take it anymore. And then somebody's like, "That feeling when you handled it calmly the first 18 times without his help, but the only one he remembers is the 19th time when you have had enough." Exactly. Like, he totally forgets that you handled it calmly before until you're like, "You know what, I can't handle this. She's being a bitch." And that is exactly what your mother-in-law was doing. And someone's like, "Especially since mother-in-law's been making constant comments." Exactly. The fact that the mother-in-law told OP she was asking for a miscarriage. Exactly. Yeah, like that was my main issue, that she was saying you were asking for a miscarriage. That is insensitive. That is wrong. That is horrible. And OP didn't lose her shit then. This is genuinely impressive. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. Ma'am, you that was very impressive that you handled it. You handled that business like a boss before when she was making these comments, because I'm just surprised you just didn't. I guess you probably didn't haul off a bitch slap her because you're like, "I'm pregnant and I do not need this drama." So it seems like in the comments that people are saying you are not the asshole and that your mother-in-law is a major asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing the birthday gift my mother-in-law gave my husband? Depends on what kind of birthday gift, but let's go ahead and read what the person has to say. "My husband, 32 male, and I, 30 female, are expecting our first child this June. Well, congratulations. Both our families have been supportive and understandably excited. We recently vacated a room that will soon become the nursery. My husband mentioned it to my mother-in-law that he was thinking of giving the room a fresh coat of paint while I was away during a specific week in February." Okay, that sounds pretty cool that he's, go to repaint the room, give it a fresh coat of paint, and you get it all ready for the baby. Cool. The following week, she said she was going to take off time off work and make the drive, which is 4 hours, to come and stay at her house and help him paint. Okay. He told her it wasn't a good time for him with work and that he wasn't even sure he'd end up painting then. It was just a casual idea. Okay. Since then, she brought it up at least 5 times to us both. Ugh. Asking us to let her know when we'll be painting so that she can come and help. We've been non-committal because the paint job will really just be a few hours work and we really aren't looking for help. We're already visiting in her city twice in April and then she'll be coming to visit us again in May, so it's also not necessary for her to plan an extra trip. Which is, I get that. You're trying to help her out, save her some money, so there's no reason for her to have to make an extra trip if she doesn't need to. And y'all want to do the painting, yourself, and it's not going to really take that long, so you really don't need her help. So you're like, "Hey, we don't really need your help on this, but, thanks anyways." She's asked what else we've done to set up the nursery, and I told her I wanted to wait until after my shower in April to begin purchasing what wasn't gifted from my registry. Okay. She knows we've intentionally bought nothing for it ourselves, and I have no plans to touch it until then. Last week, my husband was passing through her city, and she gave him a belated birthday gift. It's a piece of wall art for the nursery that's related to the theme we told her we'd be using, but it doesn't match the items I've already picked, which she could see on the registry, and it's also just not really my taste. She told him that if he doesn't like it in our nursery, she'll put it up in the nursery she has in her house for the grandkids. Our child will be her second. When my husband came home, I told him I didn't want to put it in our nursery because it feels like she's being pushy. It does. She is being pushy with this and the painting, and trying to nest for our baby preemptively on my behalf after I made it clear I have something specific in mind and won't be actioning it for a couple months. Offering to put it in her house instead feels like a tactic to force us to tell her point blank that we just don't want to use it, and my husband has an extremely hard time with those kinds of conversation. It feels manipulative, especially as a birthday gift instead of as a baby gift at the shower she's coming to this April. I'm not going to use the art, and I don't feel bad bad about it, but my husband thinks we should use it anyways because it'll be awkward if we don't, and it isn't a big deal. I told her if he feels I told him if he feels awkward, I'm happy to have a conversation with his mom to explain that I wanted to pick things out for the nursery myself, and what she gave us doesn't fit with what I had in mind. Am I the asshole? No, you have a certain theme and a certain way you want the nursery, and you already have certain things in the registry of how you want it. And it doesn't fit with the theme you already have, and then it's your child, not her child. So therefore, you have the right to set it up the way you want. You have a certain way you want it, you have a certain theme, you have a certain feel, a certain vibe, if you will, that you're shooting for this room. And if it doesn't go with the vibe, it doesn't go with the vibe. And so, no, you're not being the asshole, and she's being very pushy. You all already told her a few times of, no, thank you. We got this, and she just keeps pushing and pushing. And if she keeps pushing on this, it makes me wonder what other things she's being pushy about when it comes to you and your husband's relationship and y'all's family that you are trying to create. Like, what else is she being pushy about? Because if she's being pushy about this, she's going to be pushy about other things. But that's just my opinion. Let's see what some of the people in the comment section have to say. I would just tell her that you love it, but that's not what you're envisioning for a nursery, and you look forward to seeing it in her nursery. She might have been trying to be kind to offer that out, rather than negative qualities you have ascribed to it. Nobody's bad here. Just try to treat the mother-in-law with a little grace, and thank you, stars. This isn't her first grandchild. I'm sorry, I disagree, person. Like, she's being pushy. And, like, trying to be kind. She is being kind. I'm sorry. That's just how I look at it. Someone's like, thank her for her thoughtfulness and good intentions, but don't tell her you love it if you do not. She'll buy you more stuff in that style. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, like tell her, hey, cool. I like it, but not my style. Thank you anyways, though. And just leave it at that. But tell me what you all think of this particular thing, and whether you think anyone is the asshole in this particular story. Am I the asshole for partying while my girlfriend is grieving? Oh my fucking god, do you really have to ask that? I don't even really need to read what follows next, because yes, you are the asshole. Your girlfriend is grieving, and you should be there for your girlfriend, making her feel better, instead of like partying. What the fuck is wrong with you? And somebody maybe disagree, and the person may hear my podcast or version of this or the YouTube video, and I really don't care. If you are watching or listening to this, dude, you are the asshole. You are an outright fucking douche. Am I the asshole? Like, acting like, he's not doing anything wrong. It's like you're out partying and your girlfriend is grieving, and you think the right thing to do is go out and party and get wasted with your buddies. Like, yeah, let's go get wasted. Anyways, let's go ahead and read it before I work myself up more and end up dying. Kidding, I'm not gonna die. Anyways, I'm male 22. That explains it. And my girlfriend, female 23, has lost her aunt a week ago. They were pretty close, and obviously she is very sad. Yeah, she is very sad. That's her family member, dude. My dude, really. I try to support her doing everything I can, but she doesn't really want to talk and told me she wants to go through this moment by herself. I insisted and offered to stay with her during this weekend and do things that she likes, like going out for sushi and playing board games to maybe make her feel a little better, but she refused. Yeah, she refused because you're like, hey, let's go and pretend nothing fucking happened. That's not what she wants. Since she didn't want me to be with her and I would be alone at home, I decided to hang out with some friends. She always told me she really likes these friends, and we went to a party where my favorite DJ was going to play. Okay, that's not what she said. She said she wanted to go through the moment by herself, but that might not necessarily mean what she was trying to say. She might have been like wanting you to be there with her, but not actually trying to butt in her grief. Like, just be there for her, for a shoulder to cry on. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not at all how you're saying it anyways to begin with. You're obviously rewriting the narrative to make yourself look like this innocent person, and your rewriting of the narrative of what happened isn't really working out for you either, buddy. I told her that I was going, and she said I can do whatever I want, and she would not really care. Okay, see right there, buddy? She was saying that because she knows you're going to do it anyway. So she's like, you know what? I don't really care. Like, she didn't mean that she didn't really care. She was just saying, already knew And I'm pretty sure you probably have this kind of behavior all the time, where she's like, you know what, he's going to do whatever he wants, so whatever. The next day she called me and was extremely angry. Yeah! Told me she was very disappointed that I wasn't there for her in a difficult time, and she couldn't sleep because she wasn't feeling well because of her loss, and couldn't call or text since I was at the party. Not going to lie, I'm very confused about the situation. Am I the asshole? Yes, you're the asshole, dude! You didn't get the hints that she was dropping! Like, if she was dropping the hints anymore, it'd be like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, dude! Like, how could you not realize you were definitely the asshole? Edit. Since it happened, I told her I understand her desire to be on her own, but she could feel free to talk to me at any time and I would be there. Even if I went to the party, if she wanted me to be with her, I would leave immediately. Some people should say I should simply go, but she lives with her parents and I can't just show up there without any warning. There's other ways you could still be there for her, my dude, but you totally obviously didn't understand what she was saying when she said she didn't care. She wanted you to be there, but she didn't want you to do, like, go out for sushi and play fucking board games. That's why she's like, you know what, I want to deal with this on my own, because his idea is going out for sushi and playing board games when my aunt just literally died. So let's look in the comment section of what people have to say about it. I'm pretty sure I would hope that they're going to agree. Not the asshole. You made an offer to say she refused. Just because she didn't like the choice you made isn't a reason to be mad at you. Unless you told her she was forbidden from texting and calling, which I doubt, she could have contacted you. She just didn't. She needs to say what she means and what she needs. He is the asshole, though, because his idea was to go out and party while his girlfriend was grieving the aunt. Like, and some of these people here are saying not the asshole. I'm sorry, I disagree with them. You are definitely the asshole. Like, what the hell is wrong? Is there anybody that thinks... here's somebody. Here's finally a voice of reason in the comment. People handle grief strangely. She may have said she wanted to be alone, but then the loneliness overwhelms her and she's thinking about how she's hurting and you are partying and it reinforces the isolation. This doesn't make you an asshole. People who are grieving don't always act rationally. Yes, it does make him the asshole because she may have said she wanted to be alone, but that's not what she wanted. And the way he was going about it to console her grief was fucking stupid. Like, he was like, oh, hey, let's go out for sushi. Why the fuck would she want to go out for sushi? I don't know what's wrong with some of you people. Everybody's, like, saying not the asshole. Maybe, you know what? We're just, I don't really get it here. Like, a lot of people are saying not the asshole. But I disagree. But let me know what you all think. Am I the asshole for driving down my road when there are kids around? Depends on how you were driving. So let's read what the person says. I live on a small 5-house cul-de-sac street, and the road leading to our little street has big speed bumps as a traffic calming measure, so no one is driving more than 20 miles an hour. That's a pretty good measure. My neighbor likes to put out traffic cones across the entrance to our cul-de-sac when his kids are playing in the street. You can still drive in, so it's not completely blocked off. But I was turning into the street yesterday, and I saw the cones were out. Okay, and my neighbor came running out in front of my car screaming at me, pounding on my windshield. I was able to stop suddenly because I was going slow enough to. For a second right there, the him pounding on your windshield, there was probably a better way he could have came out to stop you, if you will. Yells at me there are kids around and that they're very little. Okay, the thing is though, you weren't really going that fast. And you were already being careful as it is. Couple other things to note. As he said this, there were literally no kids to be seen, so maybe this was misplaced anger because he clearly wasn't watching his kids. Yeah, he clearly wasn't watching his kid, and if there were no kids around, you were definitely not the asshole. You were going really slow, and how exactly are you supposed to get to your house if he's blocking the road? Also in our city, it's illegal to obstruct access to a public road without proper permits. Okay? And it's not like we're in some rural area. There are a number of parks and playgrounds within a 3-block radius. Yeah, you're not the asshole for driving down the road. And his kids weren't anywhere around, so exactly what were you going to hit? And you were going slow enough to be able to watch your surroundings and whatnot. And I mean, he shouldn't really have his kids playing in the street to begin with, to be honest. So you're not the asshole, he's the asshole. But let's see what other people said. One person said, this is unhinged behavior. Next time you see cones, you need to get your phone ready and record this cycle. As soon as you get video of him touching your car, you can call the police. Yeah, it is unhinged behavior. You would just slowly drive in and it just comes to start pounding on your windshield. So yeah, you're not the asshole. This person's the asshole. And like this other person commented, not the asshole. Your neighbor should be teaching his kids not to play in the street instead of teaching you not to drive on the road leading to your home. Call the police. He's a controlling nut job. Yeah, he is a controlling nut job because why is his kids playing in the street? For one, for two, he can't even be blocking the road because that's you already said that there you have to have a permit for that. 3 or 4, whatever. Where is his kids at? And another thing is you're trying to get to your own freaking house. Maybe he should teach his kids not to play in the street and not get mad at you for driving down your street trying to get to your home. So I agree with these people. You are not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not agreeing to change my style for my boyfriend? Sorry for the weird title, but I don't know how else to word it. My boyfriend, male, and I've been dating for a year now. Everything's been good, but we've been getting into different arguments lately. Ooh. So it sounds like that the whole changing the style for your boyfriend might not be the only issue. Sounds like that you've had several different arguments, and this is just another straw on the camel's back, or whatever the saying is, or another nail in the coffin, or another needle in the haystack. You know what? I don't think that's one. Anyways, one that came up a few months ago that originally wasn't an issue was the fact that he liked to watch adult videos. I don't think it's an uncommon issue for women not to like this. It's not. So I tell him my beliefs on it and ask him if he could stop. And I mean, you're allowed to set your boundaries and whatnot. I mean, yeah, he's allowed to watch porn and whatnot, but if it makes you uncomfortable and he wants to be in a relationship with you, there has to be willing to make compromise. I mean, some people have issues with it, some people don't. It just depends on the person. And you set your boundaries and said, hey, if we're going to be in a relationship, I don't want you watching that kind of content. He says he will and does it again behind my back. But ultimately, as of now, I think he hasn't. Okay, so he agreed to it. So he agreed to it, so that's on him. He said that he would not watch it, and then he went behind your back and did it anyways. Anyway, so recently, though, we were laying down together when a video of a gym girl flaunting her butt came up on his page. He made sure to watch the full 20-second video of her grabbing and talking about how juicy it was, hearts it, and then scrolls. I share how disrespectful that was of him to do that in front of me, but he states that he does not understand the issue since it's not him getting off on it. I tell him how it's disrespectful of him to watch videos like that in front of me, knowing it makes me uncomfortable. And you got a point there. You set boundaries, clear boundaries, and he had agreed to the boundaries earlier, and now all of a sudden he wants to act like this is not the same thing. And the fact that makes you uncomfortable, even if that wasn't part of the original agreement of the boundaries, like maybe it was just actual pornographic videos and not people acting, provocative or whatever the term is you want to call it. The point is after you said, hey, that's uncomfortable, I want to add that as well, he should have been like, oh, okay, so this is one of your other boundaries, and just dealt with that. He dismisses my feelings and tells me it shouldn't be an issue if she has a butt. Okay, that's not the issue, though. It's not the issue that, she has a butt. It's the comments that he was making and the comments she was making. And I shouldn't be accusing his love for me just because he's looking at different women. I never said anything like this. You didn't. You're right. So now today, I'm at campus and he asks me to go somewhere important with him straight after class. I told him I would, but what I'm wearing is not appropriate for the occasion and I cannot get changed fast enough to meet him. He understands, but then asks me what I'm wearing. I take a quick picture and send it off to him. He tells me I shouldn't be wearing things like this when I'm with him, and it's not fair for me to be flaunting myself when he can't be looking at other women. That's not even the same thing, sweetheart. I tell him, so you don't want other guys looking at me the way you look at other women. And you got him there because he said that, you can't be dressed a certain way because people might, sexualize you, but that's exactly what he's doing when he watches certain particular videos. And so you were pointing out the hypocrisy in what he stated. He gets angry and tells me he's going to set the same standard for me I have with an issue with him looking, then I can't dress the way I do. But that's not the same thing. The same issue would be him telling you, hey, if I can't watch, women in a provocative sexual way, you can't either. The way you dress has nothing to do with that. I tell him it's a fashion choice, and I take time to create my outfits every day, and how they're not for the male gaze, but for my own personal preference. You're correct. He doesn't agree. Well, he's an idiot. And tells me I'm being unfair. So am I the asshole for not agreeing with him? No, you're not. Because that's not even the same thing at all. Okay, so you said, for what I was wearing today, here's how I would describe it. A white zip-up sweater under a white puffer vest, white crop top enough to see my belly button, not enough to see my upper torso, so no cleavage. Regular jeans, no rips, and white belt, white sneakers. That's nothing provocative about that outfit or set up for the male gaze. Even if it was set up for the male gaze or whatever, you already said that's not what you dress for. You dress for your own personal preference. If men are looking, that's on them, not on you. Let's see what some of the people said, though, because at the moment, I do not think you're the asshole at all. I think he's the asshole and very controlling. Someone goes, oh, for fuck's sake. Please be assured, despite what type of man will insist, there are plenty of men who don't watch thirst trap videos or porn. That's true. Plenty. Now he wants to choose between you. Now he wants you to choose between being objectified and being okay with him oogling women online. There is a third choice, not the asshole. Other person's like, yes, he's pushing your boundaries. Stop now if you don't want to go any further on this path. Yeah, don't change your style. Change your boyfriend. Nah, you're not the asshole. Your boyfriend is being a hypocrite. He wants to watch him like thirst trap, but he gets mad at you for wearing a completely normal outfit. That's controlling behavior. You're dressing for yourself, not for random guys, and definitely not to make things fair for him. If he can't respect your boundaries but expects you to follow his, that's a major red flag, and that is true. He's not respecting your boundaries. You made your boundaries fucking clear, and he just wants to ignore your boundaries. Run, girl, run like the wind. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, of this YouTube video if you watch it from YouTube, or the comment section of this Spotify podcast on what you think of this particular thing and whether or not you think she's being the asshole, if he's being the asshole. In my personal opinion, though, he is definitely being an asshole and a hypocrite and tons of other things. What a fucking douche. So anyways, thank you for watching. I've been your host, Kai, and this has been an episode of Am I the Asshole? Let me know in the comment section on whether or not you think these people are the asshole. Thank you for watching or listening. I've been your host, Kai. Until next time, peace out.